Hello and welcome to the Media Bolt podcast, where whether you're hitting record for the first time on your phone or working on your next big budget film, we've got all the tactical tips, tools, tricks, and pieces of advice to help you out. Today, Andrew Feller, amazing photographer, is here with us, and we're going to go into a whole bunch of great things that you're going to be able to take away. So, Andrew, thank you for stopping by.
Thanks for having me. You said that amazing word. I'm already uncomfortable and nervous now.
We'll ease you into it. So we like to kind of get into things just by asking people a simple question. How did you get into your art, photography in your case?
Oh man, it was sort of a weird hobby when I was a kid. I would go to like rummage sales or something like that, and like buy for like the nickel or the quarter bin, like film point and shoot cameras. And I never would load film in it because there's like 8. I didn't, I just got obsessed with that end of it. And then when I got older, I was really cool. I was a band geek with pride, with serious pride. Actually, that was my high school's slogan was with pride for the band. And my 8th grade something, my dad bought me a like Canon A something that had video on it. It was like 460 resolution, or something, like so super high end stuff. And I would record auditions with that for whatever music camp I was going to, because it was a thing we had to do. And the cans are falling off. There we go. And so that became like I would just like take it to the stuff. And then as I went through high school, like I had friends with cameras that all the time, and we always just had that. And it was my wife, who was my girlfriend in high school. We were really cool.
No doubt.
Total band geeks, high school sweethearts, like all that stuff. She has like photo albums where we would like go to Walgreens and print like take our digital stuff, get it on the CD, and like print. And so, her stepsister was more of the like documenting like high school life and stuff. I was chasing butterflies or something. I don't know.
Right.
But so I was an avid musician, and so all through middle school, high school, and college, I was music. And then my junior into senior year of college, everyone was auditioning for like Juilliard and Indiana and Yale and like other like really prestigious like things for their master's programs. I'm like, yeah, I'm not good. I was my stint at UWM I was a jazz upright bass major, so performance. And I played in the guitar professor's band like outside of school, but it was kind of like a pseudo prereq for me to get accepted. He would constantly tell me, he's like, Andrew, you're solidly the most okayest bass player in Milwaukee. So I kind of knew, I knew that wasn't going to work. And so I'm filming all of my friends' audition videos, and I'm like, I kind of like this. And I had gotten a certificate from MATC for recording like audio production stuff. And when I was going through that, they're like, you just do this camera thing, but like use this toolkit. And everything's been just adding toolkits. Like even my stint of life with music it's all practice. And so that like discipline of like practicing, hitting the woodshed and all that translated into learning lighting. And the creative director that I've worked with a number of times, he said, you test more than anybody I know. I'm like, I don't know any other way to learn. It's I'm gonna lose the hat in a little bit. But you have to, it's practice. And so that was my senior year. I basically dropped the performance off my major, got a BA, and graduated, and sold all the instruments, paid off the insane amount of debt of an arts degree, and then bought a lighting kit, and that's basically how it happened.
That's one thing that I respect about you, because I always see on your Instagram stories, I got a new piece of kit, I got this, or I just want to test something out. if you want some free headshots or whatever,
it's
come on down.
Yeah,
let's have some fun. Let's test some things out.
Actually, that's I used to get a lot of crap from people for that because it's like I'm not doing free work, and I actually am a huge advocate for doing free stuff because it's people call it different things like free stuff, spec work, portfolio piece, something for the real, like TFP. Every 6 months there's a new vernacular for it all. That's the only way you can show, like, because I had this conversation with somebody a few years back. It's like there's conceptual clients and there's literal clients. True. Most of them are pretty literal, and you have to show them your idea. And so if you're doing a treatment or like a proposal and you're like, I really want to like, actually, this is something I want to do. I had this, I was writing this up for a project that we might be shooting later this month, but it's like, I've never melted a camera.
Oh, interesting.
I want to like do something really stupid where we've got the CNC lathe, like the laser cutters and stuff, and let's put it in the case and just see what happens. And they're like, okay. I'm like, no, for real though. I'm cool with it. Like I want to see if the insurance will cover it. They won't. But you have to show what the vision is and what the idea is. And if you aren't testing or doing spec pieces or just, I got 39 inch, a 36 inch, and 4x scrim. I want to see if I can make my 4x scrim look like a 39 inch deep octa, because that don't fit my carry or my check bag for whatever this job is.
Right.
Can I make my preferred look with some duct tape and a Home Depot lamp? Yeah. You can if you practice enough. And I just have terabytes, petabytes, petabytes.
I think
petabytes.
You can ditch the headphones if they're not working.
All right, it's fine. I just started rocking this hat again, and director that I do some stuff with, he's like, don't go back to the other hats. Because I usually wear like that flat brim black hat. He's like, that's cool, but like you're kind of old now. And I love him, so yeah, I'm gonna listen. But I got just tons of hard drives filled with stuff that'll never see the light of day. Like a lot of a lot of just weird playing with light and shadows. Mm-hmm. Like I was watching something where they like this whole shutter drag trend is like trendy, and is it going to go away? I'm like, we've been doing it for like, I've been doing it for like 10 years. Other guys have been doing it for like 30, 40 years, like since cameras were things. Like, I don't know if it's a trend. It's just drag the shutter. I don't know. It's not a technique.
Right.
It's just what we do. But yeah, you have to do that freebie stuff it's just practice. And that was one of the biggest mistakes that I keep having to unlearning. Maybe the way to say it is that you don't get phone calls for the stuff you don't show. Mm-hmm. And that's the one lesson I try to give. Like anytime I've had a couple of interns and just quasi mentee type relationships, and it's like, let me spend an hour. Like, we'll go get coffee or something like that. Let me spend an hour convincing you not to do this for a career. And they keep trying. I'm really bad at convincing people not to do it. But the first lesson I say is like, don't go down a path of work or genre because somebody on YouTube said, "Oh, you can make a ton of money from that." Like, I had somebody like, "Oh, I'm gonna do weddings for like a while because there's such good money." Yeah, there's such good money, and I'm like, let me break this down for you. How much do you think you can make per wedding? Okay, now how many weddings can you do in a weekend? Now how many weekends are there in a year? Is that a lot of money? And it's like, oh yeah. I'm like, now cut that in half because you got to pay taxes, you got gear, you got marketing costs, you got all the networking stuff that goes with that. It can be a great living if you love it. If you don't love it, don't do it. You're just gonna end up hating your camera and all like post on blogs about like bridezillas and stuff. And just find something you love doing and show that work. Because you're not going to get a national campaign for whatever you want by showing a bunch of brides on a hill type of thing. So
no, it's true. I mean, we just got finished with our main Milwaukee piece, and I think to relate it to what you just said, that was the first time where, we show our work and, we have clients. So like a lot of it is for them. Yeah. But this was the first thing that was like really for us. And it went from people being like, okay, sweet, to being like, oh, yeah, I see now.
Yeah. Oh, that's what you do.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. That's what I've been trying to say.
It makes sense. And, it's like you said, they don't know what you can do unless you show them what you can do. And it's like, but how? And anyway. So I don't want to say necessarily that I feel like from an outside perspective, you niche down, but you've created a lot of work for yourself in healthcare specifically. Yeah. You kind of maybe alluded a little bit to not niching down. What's your take on that? How do you, kind of find a lane but still leave yourself open to other possibilities? Because, like you mentioned earlier, it is important to have a broad horizon.
It's funny. It depends on who you talk to. It's like some people are like, oh man, I'd love to see some more healthcare out of you. I'm like, I got a whole page for that. I don't.
You drive on the highway, you see the bill.
Yeah, it's like that. Actually, when when those were up, that was the easiest calling card. They're like, oh, what have you done? I'm like, if you drive over the bridge, the first billboard and the third billboard, I did those. Oh, those, yeah. I'm like, yeah. But not the stock, the one that's obviously a stock. But yeah, that was a nice little like easy way to explain what I do. And then anytime I was a total nerd for a bit, I actually still got a couple of these I got to get. Whenever I would do a magazine cover, I was a total grandma's boy growing up.
Okay.
I'd get that magazine and drop it off at grandma's so that she could brag about it because she doesn't have Instagram.
Right.
But yeah, it's like to have I am a huge fan of like printed material because like it's a tangible thing. Not that I'm like anti social media. I'm really not active as I should be on the socials. This was gonna be a nice interview. The niching down is I go back and forth whether I believe in it or not in these days because it's that like the jack of all is the master of none. There's the quote's wrong that everyone knows, and I'm gonna totally botch it, but if I remember right, the full quote is, "A jack of all is a master of none, but I'd rather have a master of many than a expert in one."
Okay.
I think that's the whole
I can't verify, but it sounds great.
If only we had a device that could look up the... but I think that's the whole quote, because it's that thing of like, my work is representative of my problem-solving ability. I was talking with a producer about this, and he's like, oh man, you're so gear obsessed. I'm like, I'm not. I love gear if it solves a problem. I hate gear that is just a waste. Like there's the trend. Actually, we were talking about this before we started recording. Is like that trendy new camera that I totally just bought. That like I bought it because it solves a problem or a need for me, but it also is cool and it's gonna be fun to shoot with. I bought and wasted so much money on like, oh, this modifier is going to totally change the game. It's like, nah, it's just magnets, man. Yeah, right. Or whatever it was is like a weird like bounce diffuser thing. I was a total speed light nut for a while because everybody was in 2009. Like all the little gadgets and doodads. That was fun, part of the fun of experimentation, but it's all problem solving. Like I just did a shoot on Monday, where we're in this like cool, crazy stairwell, and it was like, how do I fight the giant bank of windows? Well, if I throw this light there and I emulate that, and then that hallway's dark, so I'm going to pretend there's a window there, and I'm going to light it as if it's motivated from a window that's not actually there, and just turn the camera ever so slightly.
Boom.
Now we have a beautiful illuminated stairwell that's actually a total cave hallway.
Right.
But it looks convincing, and I'm playing off the two motivated fixtures. And then throw a little 3-foot octa up, and they look pretty,
Right.
and done.
Yeah.
And that goes back to the whole like constantly testing and playing, and like whenever you sit on I'll throw the thing up on like Instagram or something like that. I call it playtime because it's I don't know what we're gonna do.
Right.
I have like 20 minutes of like me fussing and fighting and swearing at a piece of gear. Actually, that happened on Monday. I had a thing I bought because it collapses smaller.
Okay.
But I hated it because the material and the silver. And this is nerdy. This is why people think I'm gear obsessed. The silver and like in the reflection material inside of the box was skewing blue, and the rest of my stuff was looking warm. And I'm like, what the hell? And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna return that and learn that in like the first 30 seconds of the shoot. And but I had both of them with me.
Yeah.
I just had that one in the case because I had to build I have a job out of state where I'm trying to get better at reducing my kit. And I habitually will always bring some lights, even when they're like, "Oh, you'll just be augmenting whatever the motions are." And I'm like,
Yeah,
sure, yeah, that never works. I'm gonna bring lights. So I wanted to get this kit like really small so that I'm not bringing an extra tote, and so that fits when it's collapsed down. It fits perfectly next to like a little reverse fold Matthews stand or something. And it's like, oh, no extra space. So I'm like, but it doesn't work, so out. But I have like 3 other solutions for that because I'm always tinkering. What was the question?
The question was, the question as I typed it last night was, how did you find your niche in photography? But like I'd say that not as a disservice.
No, yeah.
Because I think you've crafted lanes for yourself because you found, a paying clients, you're going to want to keep them as a paying. So like, yes. But I think really it was kind of, for or against niching down. How do we approach that?
Yeah, to try to summarize that into a non-tangent ADHD fueled answer, and caffeinated. I do think that owning a niche from a client type, like I do a lot of corporate, and I love it. It's funny. I get made fun of by a few people on this. Is like I love corporate because I did this on Monday. I was a law firm, and there's a guy. He was like camera down, super cool. We were cracking jokes at each other. Like I know enough jokes of like most career types, and lawyer jokes are just low hanging fruit,
right?
And we were tossing them back and forth. He had a couple of good ones, but whenever the camera came up, he just stone faced, like he's a serious thing because the practice that he had.
Yep.
And I made a goal for myself to get one good laugh crack out of him. And he was a challenge. I did not get a good one. I got one, but it wasn't like on camera. Like, hey, I got him to do like a down type thing. And there was 2 of them in that shot, and she was busting a gut.
Which makes it harder to use that because you're
good,
like,
but he was holding
contrasting.
strong. I always try to make like little jokes, like little like weird Easter egg things for me, because I've done some stuff for Milwaukee downtown, and it sort of became a joke over the couple of years. I would try to sneak MCTS buses in the background of photos. Okay. And it was like, if you don't know, you don't know. Yeah. And I kind of still continued it to this day of like, anytime I see an MCTS coming, I'll wait. I'll like kind of burn a little bit of time. Like it's just 20 seconds. Like let's move this for no reason. Wait. Okay, we're ready to go, guys. And it's like just a little pass through the background. I did a music video for Trapper Shop over, was it February? Yeah. And I snuck a bus. It was pretty obvious back there. We're in this alleyway, and like we're using this really cool brick wall. I'm like, hey, let's do this cool building here. And like and I'm like setting up the shot, and I'm like looking down the road, and he starts doing his thing, and I hit the audio to lip sync to and stuff, and then like I'm like, just keep going, and like a bus goes right behind, like big right behind him. I'm like, yeah, I'm keeping that in there.
And that's the take. Mark.
That was a fun one. That was it was a so I do video too. That's kind of goes to the whole thing of like niching down is necessary, but thinking about it in the way of like, if you look at my work, it's about people, experience. There's certain phrases that like they were cool and now they're not. It's like storytelling and brand and all those types of things. If the work isn't about a storytelling element, then what's it about?
Yeah.
That's but like it's all about like showing some sort of human connection, whether it's a law firm or I've done a bunch with manufacturing, healthcare, insurance, a lot of, actually last year was a lot of higher ed stuff, which was those shoots are fun because college campuses are always beautiful.
Yeah.
One of them, we were in like the neighborhood around the college campus, and I'm like, this neighborhood's like curated and beautiful, and like all the trees are beautifully planted, all the houses are perfect.
Yeah.
It's like, can we just like rent this every week?
Yeah.
that was a fun one. For just that reason. I was just like, there's a phrase when I was starting, if you're a truly great photographer, you can stand in any spot and make 1,000 photos. Yeah. But in like neighborhoods like that, it's like, it's impossible not to find 1,000 photos. It's, I've kind of reject the jack of all, master of none mentality that some people put to the quote unquote generalist. Because again, at the end of the day, it's about solving a problem. It's whether I have, Drew is like, you have 3 minutes with this CEO, president, whatever, chairman of the board. You have 3 minutes or less. You got to get in there, pre-light everything, have a stand in, like click. And then when they walk in, it's like this one, look this way, look that way, walk over here, click, and see you later.
Yeah.
Or if we have like all the time in the world, it all comes, for me in my work, it comes down to getting a genuine expression, showing some sort of human experience, and all the gear around it's just problem solving.
Yeah. With from, the kind of areas of work you've been saying, typically what are considered unsexy professions from a visual standpoint.
Yeah.
It's hard to, I'm giving you credit in this because it's hard to make, everybody thinks of, a lawyer, well, they're coming to take, there's so many like negative connotations that come before, and it's like, how do we humanize? One shoot I like to talk about, and I don't even know if he remembers it. He remembered me. It's something with them over COVID where I think he remembered me. At least he acted like he did. Yeah.
Marty Brooks. Oh man, I'm botching the name. I'm awful.
You're not alone.
My wife makes fun of me. Yeah. I can remember where we met, what you were wearing, what we ate, what you ordered to drink. I cannot remember your name. That's everything. So I believe it's Marty Brooks is the CEO for the Wisconsin Center District.
Okay.
So if you guys are doing anything with Visit or downtown and stuff, he's a fantastic person to work along with. And so I did, when he got announced as the new CEO, I did his headshot for whatever agency was handling that stuff at the time. They're like, hey, we need just a portrait on the stage at the Miller High Life. We sat and talked about Legos for like 10 minutes. And they're like, hey, guys, we got to go. But, we're talking about, you got a Technics motorcycle? Like, we're talking about that kind of stuff. That's the thing that I love about it. It's the frame I capture is one thing, but I can go to every photo on my site and tell a story about either a story, bumped it again. Either a story they told me, a story that happened on set, like their favorite food, like all sorts of stuff. It's really about getting to know the person for me, at least in the portrait end of things. I can say confidently, probably 90% of the work that I show is real people, not model talent. I have a fair amount of model talent stuff, but some of it doesn't make the cut because my wife works in advertising too, and she was looking at a project I shot, and she's like, "That is the most stock photo you've ever stocked." And I was like, "Thanks, sweetie." The mortgage payment. But she's not wrong, and but taking pride in that work still is really important to me because somebody's got to make it, and I love making it, so I'm gonna just keep doing what I love with it. And that was one of the client selects. That was another hard lesson that took me years to like accept. And I learned this doing magazine work is the art director or designer or editor, whoever it is, in case of agency work, the art director, creative director, whoever, is rarely going to pick your favorite picture. They will pick the picture that works for their purpose.
Yeah.
It may not be, quote unquote, the best one, but what is the best one? Talking about art. It may not be, in your opinion, good. And you might be, oh man, what are they drinking? Like that photo's terrible. Like the expression's like stale, the angle's wrong. I actually was talking to my wife because she's like, "Oh, you're gonna be on a podcast?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm uncomfortable because like they're gonna ask me questions and I'm gonna say some career-ending shit." How was I saying the making an accusation of like the difference in taste. Oh man, I keep losing my train of thought.
You're talking about their select is probably different from what you would choose as your select.
What your that's what I was gonna say. That's my career-ending shit. I fall into holes where I'll start like knocking on like YouTube tutorial stuff, and I love YouTube. Like if I need to learn, like, oh, Photoshop added this weird like AI thing, and I don't know how it works. There's some kid in his mom's basement somewhere, like 13-year-old, that like knows how to work the software, and I'm gonna watch that whole 20-minute video, and it's gonna be dimly lit, like cell phone mounted on a like a Home Depot lamp, and I'm gonna watch that because the content's good, and I'm gonna learn something. But the posing guides and the like, we're gonna for $10 buy my ebook, and we'll change your business, and let me tell you how. I was my buddy Scott and I were getting coffee last week, and we were talking about we keep getting targeted ads for like starting your retainer video business.
Oh yeah, I've got
like,
my fair share.
If everyone's doing this, like how am I getting 8 different guys selling this plan? Maybe it's working. I don't know. Not for me. But the back to like with the client thing is like if you obsess over like the shoulder position, or like I did a shoot. It was a magazine shoot with the Scratch ice cream guys. Okay. You ever had their ice cream?
Not yet.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, it's on the list.
But like they were holding an ice cream cone, and I was like, oh, move this pinky here, like just making sure it's equidistant spacing. And they threw it up on their Instagram, like, oh, getting a hand modeling tutorial from the photographer. And it's like if you obsess over those little details, it can make or break the photo, but it doesn't. But if you obsess to it, where it's like the magazine or whoever picks the photo that like is like this, it doesn't matter because they picked it for context or some reason outside of having the fingers equidistant or something like that, or like they wanted a serious photo. You like the smiley photos. I try to always get a happy photo because I like happy people. Yeah. But sometimes the tone needs to be serious, and maybe I don't make the guy laugh that day, type of thing.
True. The one thing that I notice about all of your work that impresses me is that you clearly understand your exposure triangle. You know your cameras. You know how to control your camera. What's something, just somebody maybe picking up their first camera, going from a point and shoot or something smaller to maybe a more professional camera that they can utilize to maybe start to learn some of those things?
Take 1,000 photos and then realize that you got to take 1,000 more to figure out what you're doing. It's a terrible answer, but that goes back to practice. Because the rules are, I learned I learned all this stuff when like digital was like new, and like a digital camera wasn't a great like
Yeah, you're not cranking that past 400
that
ISO
Sony camera
and-
that you plug that floppy disk into. I thought that was like, man, that is like, dude, like unlimited, because floppy disks are
Yeah.
cheap. It's like unlimited
Yeah.
photos, guys. And like looking back, it's like, wow, that thing was terrible for whatever reasons. But I was doing back to kind of reversing a little bit, doing the callback to when I started. I used to work at Cream City Music.
Okay.
And I was doing like their e-com product photography, and they do well. It's like the local shop, but they have a huge online presence. When I was there too, but they've grown since. All that stuff was done with like 2 LED lights and like an off the shelf from Best Buy Canon point and shoot. It's not the gear that made it. It was like figuring out how to shoot everything, and literally like and I don't even know if they still do it this way, but like when we were doing it, it was like the size of a desk, like a 3 foot deep, 4 foot wide closet, and click, and then like use the lasso tool with the magnetic lasso to cut it out and pop it on white, and it works. And that's the thing is it's problem solving. It's like, these are the tools I have. This is what I got to get done. How do I get from point A to B and solve that problem? And that's that camera is a great camera for someone who just wants to take pictures. The Sony FX6?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is an awesome camera, but if you don't know how to use it, just use that.
Yeah.
There was that trendy where everyone's like, oh, whatever lens you buy, just open it all the way up. It's like, that looks that way, but you need it to be in focus. So understanding that, like, the difference between like an f2 and an f11 is this much or this much in focus. It's make that mistake 1,000 times to learn, oh, maybe I should not shoot always at f2.8 everything I've ever shot. But you don't learn it until you totally screw it up. And just rinse and repeat, practice, put in those 10,000 hours on it.
I love that.
Tangents.
Yeah, no, I love that. What are, you were kind of getting into a little bit of this, but what are some things that you do with your clients or subjects rather when you're setting up a shoot with them to kind of, maybe it's warming them up, maybe it's getting them ready, how do you?
I am the most extroverted person. I actually, I am trying to be very careful to not name specific names and stuff, because I still want to work with these people and I love them all. But we were on a shoot, and is a guy that I work with a lot, and we love each other, and we work together enough where we know each other's quirks and stuff. And the producer on it, who it was his client, had only worked with me a few times, and I get really animated. Like right now, I'm like really animated, really excited. I'm talking way too fast, fully aware. Sorry, Justin. Find a place to cut. Just run the whole thing, stream of conscious. And so I get really chatty in certain situations, and that's like a set protocol. Is like there's a time and place to be a chatty Cathy or whatever you want to call it. Again, back to the music thing. That was, as the bass player, I was the definite rule of don't put a microphone in front of the bass player, because he will talk to the audience. It was Don Linky was the guitarist. He's still playing, he's still gigging. He's one of the best kept secrets in Milwaukee. Crazy talented jazz guitarist in the area. But we'd be doing rehearsal or something. He's like, Andrew, you got the gift of gab. And I'm like, I don't know what those words are.
Yeah.
Explain gab to me, sensei. And he's like, it's either going to save you and make your career or ruin your life. TBD on that. But so we're on the shoot, and it's like, kind of like we're waiting for this thing we're photographing to get there. And so we're like an hour of downtime.
Yeah.
and I just start talking about pizza or something like that. And the producer's like, do I gotta be worried? Is Andrew like, is he trying to steal this client? And my buddy is like, oh no, he's probably talking about pizza or something like that. Like just tap him on the shoulder and say, turn the volume down, and he'll know what that means. And he tapped me on the shoulder, turn the volume down, like 10-4. I went and just started like playing with batteries or something, like checking unnecessary things. Because I was like, oh yeah, I was getting a little too chummy with something, and you're cool, move on. And then we talked about it later, and he's like, is that a thing? I'm like, yeah, I'm friendly. And like, to me, everybody's a potential subject.
Right.
For the photo. Cause also I wasn't sure who there was a bunch of interviews and stuff. So that was the real reason of getting like people comfortable. Cause the guy with the camera, I joke, is like either the scariest person in the room or the biggest liar in the room.
Yeah.
Usually both. But when some people see the camera and they know they're going to be on camera, like right now, I am terrified. There's 3 cameras pointed at me. 3? Yeah, whatever. There's one up there.
Well, 2. One of them's on just me, so you're good. Okay. Only 2.
Only twice as terrified as I am. It's getting somebody comfortable. It's like, oh, he's just the guy who happens to be holding the camera. So we were doing some interviews, and I wasn't sure which of them was going to be on camera in like 2 hours when we get the thing in the place. And so it was like a just in case thing. But also I'm just like overly friendly. And if you're in that camera department role on like a set, I like to be more of the approachable camera department. Where I've been on productions where the camera department's like, you got to talk to this person who can only talk to this person who can only talk to this person type of situation, which on larger shoots that makes sense. On smaller things, everyone just talks to everybody. But yeah, it was really funny. He's like, just turn the volume down. I just ran away. Dust
They
cloud.
are like, but that's leaving.
Yeah. No, that was, have you ever had Casey's breakfast pizza?
Ooh, maybe.
Like Casey's, the gas station?
Yeah, I feel like it's been a minute.
That is the best breakfast pizza I've ever had.
Wow, okay.
Like,
I'll have to.
And it could have been we were in the middle of nowhere and it was the only option, but it was really good.
Maybe sometimes that's what makes it.
Yeah, it could be. That's the other one is like when we're on like out of town shoots where we're driving in. Our like years ago it was like, stop at McDonald's. It's cheap, fast. It's 10 o'clock at night. Now Quick Trip. I love that's my
really
favorite.
Done a good job
that's my favorite thing about working in the Midwest. I'll be driving between here and like Minnesota or something like that, and there's always a Quick Trip. And there's always like those torpedo.
Oh yeah,
tater tot things. Yep. Oh man, those are so good.
Too good.
Anyways.
So one of my favorite projects that I've seen from you was your stop motion video piece for Lake Effect.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
We had been approached years ago to do something very similar. And
it was like roughly 2 years ago for a series of beverage shirts?
I don't think it was.
Okay.
I think it was a little longer
I
ago
have
than
theories.
that.
Anyways.
It was a little longer ago than that.
Maybe it was 3 years ago. Yeah.
How did that come together? Because I think that's one of those things that people look at and they're like, sweet, that is so cool, but they have no freaking clue the pain that goes into making that come together.
So why I asked those specific questions, because I was curious if you bid against me on it. That's another thing I love about Milwaukee is you bid against your friends all the time. And like my friend CJ, friend Lucian, my friend Nick's, there's a couple of Nicks in town. Whenever I'm bidding against them, like based on the deck, I know who might be bidding on this. Like if it's such and such subject matter, I know who might be bidding on this, and we just text each other and we're like, "Hey, dude, you bidding on this? Like, sweet. I hope you get it." Like we're cheering for each other. It's like that fun camaraderie of like, "Oh man, if you don't get it, I hope they get it," like type of thing.
You know,
like,
it's going to somebody good.
Yeah, it's when not to like bring up this weird thing with the industry. It's like, oh, they brought some out of state guy. It's like, whatever. I'm oftentimes the out of state guy. That comes up every now and then. But that shoot, it was talking before of like, how do I prep for
like what's the process? What's the tech on set? Because, obviously I know that there's like, a 50 opacity frame
So it kind of goes back to your question of like preparing like a subject. I overemphasize the importance of pre-production, and all the way back to if I'm doing a treatment or a bid or like a proposal, like whatever we're calling it today, I will overdo it. And like goes back to I'm always testing, and so the conversation with bumping it again.
It doesn't pick up.
It's the Italian thing.
Yeah,
it's
it
like the
doesn't pick
hands,
up,
man.
so you're good.
The proposal for a job was they had an idea of what they wanted to do. I'm like, what frame playback do you want? And they're like, what? And I was like, do you want it to feel like I forget the 8mm film where it's got that like flicker to it, or do you want it to feel like real-time playback but you can see the breaks, or do you want it to be like hyperlapse? Like I started throwing these words and they're like, do you have samples of that? I'm like, I have some, but like this is all going to be vertical. Let me get back to you in 2 days. And so I have a great relationship with Jake, the owner of Lake Effect. And so I shoot for fun. If you don't know this, you can surf in the state of Wisconsin on Lake Michigan. It's one of the freshwater surfing capitals of the world. And so for fun in the colder months, we go out and play in the water.
It's to those that don't know, it is a thing.
And I'm a better surfer than I was a bass player, I think. I was solidly okay. When I learned to surf, it was funny. I learned in Costa Rica, and I'm a bigger guy, but I used to skate, BMX, all that stuff, and I was like average at best at that stuff. But I've always had like really good balance and like body awareness things, and I was doing like avid practicing yoga and stuff, and that's how I was in Costa Rica. And so on the first day out, they're like, "Hey, we're gonna go surf," and we stay at a surf camp, and we paddle out, and like I get up, and they're like by the way, I don't speak a lick of Spanish, and my wife makes fun of me for this all the time because we'll go to these countries, and I'm like, without her, I'm lost in life and Costa Rica. And all the guys in Spanish are like talking about the big guy, all that stuff. And then I get up, they're like, "Oh, gordo."
I know what that means.
Yeah. I was like, I know what that means. But it was like that thing. It's like, and because I had that much weight, I mean, it was like a trash barge size. It was almost a sup. Because of my weight, I could turn it.
Right. Okay.
Because once you're up, it's kind of like a skateboard.
Okay.
Kind of. As far as like the thing of it. So anyway, so I go out and shoot the surfers for fun, and they're like, "Oh, well, how do you get into water photography?" I'm like, "Well, I had a fishing client, and that afforded me to, instead of renting, buy my water housing, and then once you have the main housing for whatever your camera package is, the ports are just whatever lens you want that day, and a port's cheap compared to the whole housing.
Right.
So for the surfing, I'm like, I'll get the bigger, wider housing that is really meant for that. And so I've been doing stuff with them for that. And Jake and I have been talking about doing, he's got a couple brands, and we were talking about doing some merch stuff. And so I'm like, hey, I am putting this thing together for a proposal for a quote unquote real client. Give me like 5 t-shirts. I think I used 12. Give me 12 t-shirts in this size. I got a friend's going to come to the studio, and we're going to make a TikTok style video 8 ways. And that video on my Instagram, I have like 7 or 8 of them at different frame rates, at different count structures, at different pacings, at different markings, at different action items. Cause it was again, it's all problem solving. The solve for that pitch was, how do we have somebody move and mid frame change the shirt? And the solve I came up with for the proposal, and the job never happened. Someone else, I think, got it. You'd have to do like cuts up the back of the shirt.
Okay.
And like mid change it. And so I have a video where we kind of did some stuff like that to kind of show like the how to of it. That's another problem that I get into, is like in my proposal I show, and this is how I'll do it. Why didn't they hire me?
Yeah.
Here's the recipe. But so that video, I think we shot for like 4 hours that day. It was like, how many ways can we do this? So I got a 3 frame per second at like every 3 frames, the clothing's change. A 5 frame, like where I did 5 frames per second with every 3rd frame it would change. So it was like a kind of like a stutter transition type of thing. And then like various playbacks and playback speeds and that all came from, I've done a ton of work. Again, find it on my website. It's not there. Today I put 2 of them together. Stop motion pieces with product tabletop things. Where It's like a lay flat and stuff's like moving around like those old Lego things. Again, used to shoot that for fun. Legos are cool, man. and it's a fun way to expense some weird money.
Right off.
I need this Millennium Falcon for work.
No, not the 16 piece.
The big one. My wife bought me for Father's Day the Optimus Prime.
Okay.
Transforming Lego, and I still have yet to do it. I wanted to do like a stop motion of it like transforming and then like shattering or something like that. Yeah. But I'm in studio transition right now, so I might leave my space. First time I'm talking about it like this. Might leave my space and I'm talking with somebody about a build out for somewhere else. It's early conversation there, but because of that, like I'm like, I don't want to make a huge Lego mess at my current spaces. I don't want to clean up.
Yeah.
So right now I'm just kind of using my current studio as storage while I figure that out. But yeah, a lot of like all that stop motion with the t-shirts came from the stop motion doing tabletop, which was the stop motion of like playing with toys type of thing. And it's all progressive growth is kind of how that came about. But and relationships.
What's the, I guess, I don't want to say the recipe. You don't have to give everything.
Oh, yeah.
But like, what's the, is it you're in Lightroom and they have a thing? How does that on set, I guess, work out?
Well, so for that one, one thing of that, again, it's just because you're always testing and playing with it. For that one, I learned, I'm a diehard advocate for Lightroom. I love it from an organizational standpoint. The tethering depends on how new your camera is.
Yeah.
I joke that Adobe, Apple, and Canon, I'm a Canon shooter, or whatever brand camera you're using, the Adobe and Apple and whatever brand of camera need to all get in a room and just agree to play along and play nice, because us users need to be able to work.
Yes.
And when the 5D Mark IV came out, for like 6 months, I couldn't use Lightroom.
Oh my gosh.
Because the tethering didn't work. And so it's like it was all studio-based stuff, so I couldn't tether to Lightroom for 6 months. I was trying every other tethering platform. And so I gotta actually do a thing where you like figure out all your subscriptions and then cancel the ones you're not using.
Rocket Money, I think.
I got like every digital photo something platform. I have a subscription to most of them. And I'm not using half of them, but I had my subscription to Capture. Oh, it looks. I had missed my Capture One subscription. So Capture One has a thing called onioning. I forget what they call it in there, but the term's onion. So it shows a overlay of the previous photo. So when I had her walking and we would do a change, she would just keep her feet locked in, do the change, and then like kind of get her body in roughly the same spot, and then like take another picture so that like it would change. Or like when she grabs the shirt and goes like this, like she'd hold it. I'd have my assistant come in and like pull it a little wider, and then like freeze, and then like do the change quick, and then okay, your hand was a little higher, your hand was there, and like using the onion to kind of map it out. And that's like the painful part of that shoot, but of that type of shooting, but it's the end result's cool, and that's no different than like packing a weird kit or like overlighting a situation, because the probe lens would look really cool on it. I don't know if you've done a lot with probe, but you need so much light.
Not yet. It's definitely on the list, but
yeah, you take whatever you think you need as far as lighting goes and quadruple it.
F14 wide
yeah,
open.
F14 is not especially in video, like F14 is not kind to the eyeballs.
So talk to me about video. I mean, obviously, most of of your work is probably most known for photo, but I know that you've been taking a lot more recently into more video side.
Yeah.
Obviously, I can see the relation to you being a musician in your past, and like music videos are kind of the easy draw into that. But talk to me about kind of that. Is it a transition? Do you want to do more of that moving forward?
Money. No, it's
then you got to do more weddings.
no, yeah, no, correct. It's funny. I started wanting to do video, and because it's there's the musician audio or audition videos and that stuff, and the cameras weren't obtainable for the way I wanted to work at the time. Like the Red Epic one, I think had just come out, and it was like a $60,000 something ridiculous thing, and I was like, one day. Yeah. Now you can like find one of those on eBay for like $1,000. It's kind of crazy, because that was the defining camera of like all that kind of stuff. But the draw for stills was it was kind of twofold. One, it was like that capture the moment and the emotion and the human experience and that engagement. The other half of it was I had a photo book, like a portfolio book of photo, and I had like a crappy college kid reel. And I went out to coffee with a producer, and he hates to tell the story like this because he doesn't fully remember it, I don't think. But and we go out for coffee. He's a really cool dude, and he like kind of soft spoken in certain settings. And he looks at my photo book, and he looks at my video book. He's like, "We got enough video, guys. You should do stills." And that's all he said to me. And I'm like, that is how I'm gonna live my career now. But video has always been there. I've always had like 3 or 4 clients a year that I've done like standard camera, talking head, interview, cut some, shoot a little sexy B-roll, cut it together in 2 minutes or less, done. That's you throw a stick and you'll hit that type of work in the corporate space. Yeah. I have to I have a long list of things I have to finish doing. Like my website hasn't had a true update in almost 2 years. So I have buckets of stills work that I'm making PDFs and treatments and stuff with it constantly. Like made 3 of them today with work that's not on my site. Yeah. Because I'm like, is this a market? Can I show this yet? I don't know yet. Right. There's that gamble of it. But then I need to make 2 I hate the terminology, director's reels, because I struggle with that title of director. I've had people call me that in the past, and I get it. It's as a stills shooter, you kind of have to be the director, producer, DP in one package. But the difference between me and a director is the macro versus micro to the vision. I love being in the weeds, and I love working in the overall arching vision. And in maybe 10 years, I'll be like, okay, you can call me a director now. I barely there's only like 2 people that call me a DP, because I hold the camera and I push the red button. On the stills camera, it's a black button. On the cinema camera, it's a red button. So I know where the button is as far as the DP goes. And then when I'm lucky, I don't have to worry about focus when I DP. But the titles all get gobbled, kind of jumbled together. It's like, where you DP, cinematographer, videographer. I'm like, I use that. Yeah. Depends on the size of the shoot is what we're gonna call ourselves that day. But I've always done video. Again, with the audio background, I am an advocate for like really great audio will save shitty video, and it's really easy to shoot shitty video.
Yes.
It's really easy but if the audio is good, really can tell. And then you just throw a film grain on it, you call it a skate video or something. Right,
yeah. Good audio can save bad video. The inverse is not always true.
No, definitely not. But most of the video projects I'm doing is either like it's one of the reels I got to make is just straight talking heads. Because even something as simple as like a talking head, it's like, is it a clean sweep? Is it a white sweep, black sweep, single light, 2 light, 3 light, colored, environmental, like all that stuff. It's like that showing that versatility, even just in a 2-point talking head or three points, which are fun to edit.
Right.
You could have a whole reel of just talking heads, and it's on my list of things to do maybe in October, when summer's through and we can breathe. But I love doing music videos. I mentioned that Trapper Shep one.
Mm-hmm.
I have a great relationship with the studio Wire and Vice. You know those guys?
I don't
Or
actually
know of them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give them a plug. It's an amazing recording studio in Tosa.
Okay.
And like you drive past it if you go to Tosa Village, you drive past it all the time.
I'm north of town, so I rarely
same.
go.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you're in Tosa Village, you drive past it all the time, and they have an amazing like acoustically treated live room that has this great sound to it. And Zach Petrini, we've kind of like weirdly followed each other throughout careers. Back when NPR Tiny Desk was like brand new and like a thing that would like submit some videos type of thing before it was what it is. I shot a video for them behind like a thrift store, like Tiny Desk. We were talking about this a couple weeks ago. I think it was like just January or something like that. It was like there's snow on the ground. It was like 30 degrees at night in his in-laws garage.
Oh, jeez.
Type of thing. And I shot that, God, that had to be like 11 years ago. Something like that. On like a pair of Canon Rebels.
Oh my
like
goodness.
That's
no autofocus.
like nothing. One had like a nifty 50 on it, but we just, and then through some type of audio thing and just manually, like literally manually looked at the waveforms and synced it together like that. And so he and I have been working together a lot, and he started doing licensing music with Kyle over at Wire and Vice. He had this idea for like one take, like audio, video, single take, cut it, throw it out in the world type of thing. And from a filmmaking perspective, like my favorite style or like technique or whatever terminology is the oneer.
Yep.
Like the long take.
Yep.
I look for them in any movie I watch or all that kind of stuff, and like I obsessively like look them up, like what's the longest oneer, and like that like fight scene in Daredevil's like one of my favorite ones because it's just a camera pushing and pulling, but it's like one continuous take, and it's like chef's kiss. So 2 minutes or 2.5, 3 minutes of like, if I fuck up, like if I jostle the camera, it's there. Like we ain't cutting this. I did a round of that with him. Then I've done a bunch of like live music video things there with them. I did 2 of those with Trapper this year. This is like, I think this year alone, I've done 10 of those, like 10 music videos. Yeah. Just at that studio alone. Oh, wow. Which is just like buddies hanging out on a Monday night type of thing.
Let's do some oneers tonight.
Yeah. We did the oneers. And then the last ones have all been like proper sessions where it's, all right, let's do, I just need 3 takes of this song.
Right.
I'm going to focus on the drummer on this one type of thing. There's a really good one, a Trapper that is out or not out yet. And with this is like artist respect thing. That stuff is buddies hanging out, little bit of financial back and forth for some stuff. It's not at rate.
Right.
But it's the respect of like, this is their music and their art. The Trappers are actually covers for a benefit that he was putting out with a couple other artists. And so the release of them are to their schedule. And it's like, I got a bunch of things coming out where it's like, oh, well, you can share it. I'm like, no, don't need no rush. It's okay.
You're first.
I'll show somebody, but like, I'm not going to throw it up on my YouTube channel. Like that's your promotional material. And when I need then this is with Zach, I'm like, hey, I need a model and your entire family for we just did a shoot for the library. Unapologetically, Milwaukee Public Library is like my favorite client. They kind of let me do me
always nice.
Anytime I work with them. And for this shoot, it was utilization of the spaces. And I'm like, I need like a family. Hey, Zach, how them kids doing today? And we literally just shot 2 of those, and I was like, "Hey, buddy," and so they all showed up and they were ready to rock.
Yeah.
And that's the other joy of like the shooting those spec things. It is a mutual collaboration of, hey, you're gonna get some stuff, I'm gonna get some stuff, and like later you might need me for a thing, or I might need you for a thing, and that's fostering that community. And that's I do that partially as a way to not have coworkers, or make up for the fact that I don't have coworkers. I would love coworkers some days, but keeping friends and being active with that's my many muses.
Love it. So we'll be respectful of your time. I know you gotta head out, but where can people find your work?
I'm old enough to have my name on everything. When you are at the infant stage of Instagram, you can get Andrew Feller.
Yep.
No underscores, no weird things. So Instagram's just at Andrew Feller. My website is andrewfeller.com. And those are like the 2 main places to get me. My email is even hello@andrewfeller.com, because that way I won't forget how to spell it. Yeah. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for being on. Go ahead.
Yeah, this was a lot more fun than I thought it'd be.
Oh, we have a good time on this show. And for you watching or listening, hit the positive button for us if you could. We'd greatly appreciate that. Go check out some of Andrew's work. Maybe you can hire him for your next video shoot, photo shoot, whatever it may be. He's more than capable to get the job done. So until next time, thanks for watching, everybody.